What's going on, everyone? Rome here to talk to you about a new camera I just picked up. But here's the thing, it's not new, it's actually 7 years old. This is the Panasonic Lumix G85. Outside of the US, it would be called the G80. It's a mirrorless camera that uses a micro four thirds sensor. What this basically means is that it is a crop sensor as opposed to a full-frame sensor. I'll get more into this later. So why did I buy a 7-year-old camera in 2023? Well, I've been wanting to upgrade my content to 4K for some time now. I do use an iPhone 13 Pro and a GoPro for any 4K content right now. But I wanted to be able to use different lenses and have more manual control over my shooting settings. And there are several reasons why I chose this camera over others. And let's get into it. The first and biggest thing I had to consider was price. From the start of my content creation journey, I've built everything with a budget in mind. And while it would be great to have higher end, more professional equipment, that's just not possible right now. Besides, I don't think at this stage of my abilities it would make my content much better anyways, as opposed to learning new and more advanced techniques. You can actually still purchase this camera new if you choose. But if you really want to save some coin, look into a used one from places like mpb.com. I use them all the time. They sell quality used equipment and they're pretty accurate in their conditions and descriptions. I'll add a link to their website in the description below. The G85 is still a very popular camera, so they're not very hard to find. Look around, you'll find one in all types of conditions and price ranges. The Micro Four Thirds system is pretty open when it comes to standards and allows for a wide variety of lenses from a number of manufacturers, each one suiting your specific needs and budgets. Lenses like the Panasonic 12 to 16mm kit lens or even the 14 to 42 kit lens, like I have here, are great to not only start off, but should take you well into your shooting journey. If you want to look outside of Panasonic lenses, you have numerous options to choose from, like Olympus, 7 Artisans, and Siryu make quality glass and are completely compatible with the G85. One thing to keep in mind though is that many of these won't have autofocus or image stabilization. So if you really need those things, you probably want to stick to Panasonic lenses. Although the G85 is 7 years old, many people still sing its praises as one of the best cameras for vlogging and content creation on a strict budget. I already talked about the price being a major plus, but it's what you get at that price that really makes the G85 shine and outshine its competitors at this price point. The G85 is the successor to the still popular and still very good G7. It shares many of the same characteristics and traits, but adds some really outstanding upgrades. They both use the same 16-megapixel 4/3 sensor, and while that may seem small compared to some of the higher end stuff out there, at this price range, and for my needs, it's more than enough. One small advantage here for the G85 over the G7 is that the G85 lacks an anti-alias filter, which results in slightly sharper image quality. The G85 also has an improved mechanical shutter not found on the G7. This provides a quieter release and helps prevent shutter shock, which often affected the G7. When it comes to video, the G85 is capable of shooting at 4K Ultra HD at up to 30 frames per second and delivers this with exceptional quality. It can also shoot 60 frames per second in 1080p for slow motion effects. The camera also provides a number of features and controls like focus peaking, waveform monitoring, and zebra striping to help you achieve high quality videos. To me, the biggest upgrade over the G7 and what really makes the G85 stand out from its competition is its in-body image stabilization. The image stabilization on the G85 is really good, and at the time of its release was considered class leading. The image stabilization on the G85 works in both photo and movie mode, and can be used in a couple of different ways. You can turn on image stabilization from the motion picture menu. If you're using a lens without in-lens image stabilization, like this Panasonic 25mm, you can use the G85's in-body image stabilization, which is pretty good by itself. But if you are using a lens with stabilization like this 14 to 42mm by Panasonic with OIS, you can achieve dual image stabilization with the OIS and IBIS. In addition, when shooting video, you can also activate the 5-axis hybrid stabilization system by turning on E-stabilization. This would achieve the smoothest, most stabilized footage outside of using a gimbal. Without image stabilization, video footage is, not surprisingly, jumpy and choppy. If you do use a gimbal, it's actually recommended to keep image stabilization off. You don't want the two systems competing against each other. With image stabilization on, video becomes much smoother. Image stabilization on, E-stabilization off. Again, walking on a concrete path with a handheld selfie stick. This is with dual image stabilization on. So image stabilization along with E-stabilization for video. Again, this is with the Panasonic Lumix 14 to 42mm OIS lens, so it does contain in-lens image stabilization. The G85 also comes with some great color profiles to help you achieve any type of look for your videos. The natural, Cinelike D and Cinelike V profiles are excellent for taking into post and color grading and applying LUTs to. An often overlooked but very useful feature the G85 has is a microphone jack. Most cameras today that are capable of shooting video also have built-in microphones. But unless you're speaking right next to the camera, the built-in microphone can't produce quality audio, especially at this price range. Can't go swimming, but you can probably do fishing, some boating in here. Looks really cool, some campsites. A microphone jack enables you to attach a shotgun mic or a lavalier mic to your camera to improve your audio when you're further away from the camera. The G85 is a compact mirrorless camera. Compared to my older Nikon D5200, which is an APS-C sensor camera, you can definitely see the size and weight difference. It's not as small and compact as point-and-shoot cameras, however, but it definitely inspires more confidence when holding the camera because of the larger hand grip. The G85 is nearly identical to its predecessor, the G7, in its shape and size. There are slight ergonomic improvements to the hand grip and some buttons, and the G85 adds one more custom setting on the main dial. But besides that, they look the same. The G85 is slightly heavier though, and that's because, unlike the G7, the G85 is made from a full magnesium alloy chassis. It's also weather sealed and resistant to dust and moisture. This, combined with its lightweight and compact design, makes it an excellent camera for travel and the outdoors. If there is one knock about the G85, it's the autofocus system. Panasonic uses a contrast detection autofocusing system. Unlike Sony's phase detection system and Canon's dual pixel system, the G85's autofocus is a bit slower and tends to search a lot. As the name implies, it works best in well-lit and high-contrast situations. This isn't to say that it's horrible and unusable, because it definitely isn't if you know how to address it. And for me, it was not a deal breaker. I'll be creating more detailed videos to talk more in depth about the G85's features, including its shortcomings when it comes to autofocus, so be sure to look out for those. For me, the Panasonic Lumix G85 will first and foremost be a video camera. My whole intent in buying it was for cinematic 4K content, and from what I've seen so far, it's very capable of that. It's a great little camera that does everything I needed to do, all at a price that didn't break my budget. Join me next time as I dive deeper into what this camera is capable of. I'll check out some of the cool video features and go in search of the perfect settings for any type of situation. If you have any more questions about the G85, please post them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Also, let me know if there's anything that you'd like me to go into more detail about this camera. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you've already subscribed to my channel, thank you for all your support. Whether it's for tech content or travel content, I appreciate you watching. Till next time, I'll talk to you guys later.